All right, so welcome back to Thermal Garage. Today we're going to carry on with the transmission repair in this 2013 Ford Escape. As you saw in the previous video, we finally got this thing out of there, which was a right pain in the butt, but persevered, and here it is ready to go. So this video is going to be tearing this thing down and see if we can hopefully find what's wrong with it. But before I get onto that, I've got a couple of tires here that I need to get installed. I'm taking them to the shop tomorrow morning, so I've got to remove the rear wheels and tires off to take them in and get that done. So we'll do that real quick, and then we're going to jump onto this. All right, here's the tires that came off. As you can see, very bald on the inside on both of them. Very bald. The front ones were actually worse. They were down to the cords, and there was chunks missing here. But anyway, I've got those other tires there that are going to go on here, so I'll take those off tomorrow. But now, let's get to it. Let's get that transmission pulled apart. So one thing I've done is I've taken a few pictures of this before I start taking it apart, just to note where the bolts go that have got the little stud on them. I believe there's only just one on the case itself, but on the valve body cover, there's a whole bunch. There's all on the bottom and up here. So I've taken pictures of those, so when I put it back together, it'll go back the same. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna go around and crack all these bolts loose and pop this case open. All right, so that was fairly self-explanatory. Now, like I say, I've seen a video of this before, how to take these things apart. Basically, all the guts are in this part here, starting with the differential, pop that off, and the gear cluster will come off. And then you start digging into all the clutch packs and everything down in here. Now, I looked at here real quick, and on this little rubber dam, there was a little bit of metal. It looked like a very small amount. And on the magnet on the filter here, is what I would consider to be just normal wear. It's very fine. There's no big chunks or anything on there. It's just fine particulate. So that's rag here. I would consider that to be somewhat normal. And right here, that is your oil pump. So I'll be taking that apart as well. I'm going to start by removing the oil slinger. You got to remove the oil pump, and the filter comes off with it. Then you can rotate it to take it off. So with the oil pump removed and the filter attached, basically this is down to the bare bones this side of the case. So what I'm going to do is start stacking some parts. I've got some oil rags down there, and move this out of the way. And as the parts come off, I'm going to stick them down there. I've got to bag things like the bolts and label them. And there's also, if you've ever worked on an automatic transmission, you'll know you can never drain all the oil out. There's still tons of oil in here. So I've got a catch can here that I'm going to see if I can dump as much oil as I can. But anyway, we'll carry on here. So with the oil pump off, the oil filter, I do believe you just turn this, and there's a little groove, and you line it up. So yeah, there's also some metal on there that's a little bit larger particulate. If you can see that there. Yeah, that's a little bit larger pieces of metal, and it looks like aluminum. So that's not necessarily something to give me a warm fuzzy, but yeah, hopefully you can see where that's coming from. All right, let's pull out this differential. That apparently just comes off like that, and then this gear, and then this whole pulley drive assembly will come off. There's another piece. I'm going to take that off there. I think it's a chain tensioner or chain guide. More oil. I gotta take this gear selector out of park. That's gonna be a bit of a challenge because I gotta take the park pawl out of here. I have to get a little pair of pliers to turn that. That's kind of stiff. All right, I just turned that little gear selector there with a pair of pliers. Just it didn't take much, just more than I could get with my hand. Now this parking pawl is removed, or pull it out, disengaged, and now I can pull this first set of gears out. I don't know what this is. I'm pretty sure we need it for something though. Put the bolts back in. And I see something now. There's a speed sensor that I have to remove. I think it's a speed sensor that's going to be in the way of these clutch packs coming out. So I'm going to have to remove the valve body. Okay, I've got all the bolts removed from the valve body cover. Now this should just pop off really easy. And there's probably going to be a bunch of oil come out. Yes, there is. And you got to remove this speed sensor plug here. And this plug here. And then we're going to remove the valve body, and then we can get at this wire goes to a sensor inside the transmission. So you have to move this out of the way so you can pull it out. So this will be the next thing to take off. Now, the thing is with the valve body, let's see. That looks like a retaining nut there. It'd be nice if I can. There's a whole bunch of bolts on here that hold the valve body all together. And I really don't want to take those apart because then you got ball bearings fall out and everything. And there are a few, however, that actually will hold the valve body to the case itself. So I think this is the one that just holds the valve body together, and the other ones actually will remove the case. So this can be a little bit sketchy, but see if we can get this all taken off. All right, I'm going to stop here. One thing I was actually always nervous about was when you have different length screws. And I thought, how the heck am I going to be able to figure out which is which? But it's actually fairly easy because if you look at the aluminum case, if you will, these long ones, you can tell these stick out further. So you have to have the longer screws than here, which are farther recessed. So I'm not so concerned. I am still concerned about this valve body coming apart and which screws hold it together. It looks like there's a bolt here and a nut there, or a bolt and a nut there. I think those are the 2 or 3 that hold the valve body together. The rest bolt the valve body to the case. So once I remove all those, I can pull the whole thing off. No, there is one more screw holding it on, and I think it's that nut. Yep. And there's your valve body. Okay, now with the valve body removed, I can remove this plate here. And then you can see there's a Torx screw there to remove this speed sensor. And there's your speed sensor. There's some seals here that'll remove. I'm going to wait till I get the rebuild kit before I start removing seals. I guess I could probably start taking apart the shifting spring and linkage and all that. That's got to come out. But really, I want to get into this. You know, I got to start making a spot where I can lay all my parts out so that I can put this back together with some sense of confidence. Because once you start digging, it's amazing how much stuff is laying in behind this stack here. It goes, it's like a bottomless pit of gears and clutch discs and everything. So, and there's a bunch of seals on here that have to be replaced. I've got to get this parking pawl removed. I think it's just, pull that pin off and that'll come out. So, but it's getting pretty late, so I'm going to probably call it for today, and tomorrow I'll get back on this and have this place a little bit more organized, and we'll get back into it. Okay, I'm going to do a bit of a cleanup here, and first thing I'm going to do is actually start to suck up the oil out of here instead of dumping it out and just soaking it all up into these things. I've got a suction thing for doing oil changes on boats, so I'm just going to suck the oil out of the transmission what I can, and then the rest will just soak into the rags. All right, so it looks like I got most of it out, but got a little over a liter of oil in there, so that's good. There's still more that'll be in there, but that definitely is going to clean things up. Now, looking at this right here, that is the concerning part that I'm seeing. That is basically aluminum. It's non-ferrous, and that came from somewhere in here, and we're going to find out where it is. But that, I don't think that should be there. So, okay, let's get this all cleaned up, get a bit organized, and then I'm going to start getting in serious taking this thing apart. All right, I got the camera set up here, and first thing I'm going to do is basically just start dismantling this thing, lay the parts out in order, and hopefully, with the aid of watching this back, if I need to, I can put it back together. So I don't know the names of all these parts, but I'm just going to start laying them out. I know we got some planetary gears, sun gears, is all that sort of stuff, but I think this whole shaft comes out pretty quick. No, there we go, sun gear there. Oh, this won't come out. I have to remove this ring around here. And this aluminum piece here is the piston that operates these clutch discs. So, I think, and also before I do that, I'm going to have to remove this parking pawl. I believe that's just a spring, and this will slide out. Yeah, I'll put that over here. That takes care of that. And now what I can do is I can pry out this spring retaining clip here. Okay, got this snap ring out. It was a bit of a bugger, but I might have to look at getting some better circlip pliers for later. But all right, let's pull out this clutch pack here. There's one more ring to go on there. Okay, now this piston comes out. It's just gonna come out perfectly square. All right, this is the part on the video that I watched that failed. I'm not too sure exactly how to pull this apart. I'll have to figure it out, but this is the piston that actuates the clutch packs. So anyway, I don't see anything obvious with this. Oh, no, it's probably supposed to be like that. Maybe. That looks like it's broken right here, but that might be supposed to be like that when they put it together. I don't know, but anyway, stick that over here. Now the next set of gears will come out. Another clutch pack. This one's obviously got to come out perfectly square. There we go. I'll stick this back on top of there because that's where it came from. All right, what's next? Oh, what was that? A little bearing. All right, we got another snap ring groove way down inside there. That's going to be fun to take out, but I think there's quite a bit of oil. I'm going to see if I can suck more of this oil out of here. All right, I worked this little, another retaining clip in here. So I can get this sucker out of here. There we go. That sucker. I think there's another piston under there. I'm running out of spaces for parts here. Looks like there's another piston in here. Yeah, that's another piston. I believe that's all the parts out of there. Other than these seals, there's some seals coming in from the valve body. Looks like these little rubber seals here. You gotta make sure, I guess when you put those in, you don't forget. And I guess I can pop these seals out. Boy, they're not very pliable anymore. They're pretty hard. Okay, I'm going to take this next section apart. I haven't found anything that's obviously wrong with this transmission, so the next thing to do is pull this apart. Take this little retaining ring off. And then these clutch packs should come out of here. Just like that. Oh, okay, I know what's going on. This shaft's got to come out. So to do that, there's a retaining ring down inside here. Oh yeah, there I can see it. This is not going to be able to get this on camera. I bought some little picks, like I saw in a video. They used little picks to get it out. So I'll take that out, and then this shaft can come out. All right, using a couple of picks and a lot of perseverance, I got this little clip out. It's just a little tiny clip, but with that removed, the shaft should come out. Put that pin over with the shaft, and now, there we go, this ring will come off. There's also a thrust bearing here. What the hell's going on? That should just come off. There we go. It's under there. And I believe there's another piston in here, but I'm not too sure how it comes out. Okay, I just went online and watched a rebuild, a teardown on one of these. And what you got to do is actually push down on this piston and work this retaining ring out. So that's what I'm doing now. I've got it worked out most of the way. It's got to push this down and work this snap ring out. There we go. There. So that'll come out. Now this can be quite tight. There we go. And then the piston comes out. It comes off just like, there we go. Jeez. That's going to go in there. And there's a return spring. It's got to go that way. And that's got that all apart. Now the next part is this side, which apparently you have to push the snap rings in so you can push this ring down, and then you can remove the snap ring out. It's a bit of a pain. See if we can get that. So the snap ring's got to go in. There we go. It just popped right out. There's a 1, 2, 3 O-rings on here that'll all get replaced. And I think that's about it for this. And this is all the clutch discs in here. All right, I've looked this stuff over here and I don't see anything obvious wrong. And with the main parts over here, the only thing that I see wrong is in this piston assembly. This ring does look like it is broken, and I'm going to dig into that. I think that could be a problem. I don't think that's supposed to look like that. All right, I took this over on the other bench, and what you got to do is actually push down on this plate really hard with a screwdriver and work this ring out, and it should just work its way out now. Getting it in could be a different story. It's all these little springs that you're fighting. There we go. So that's going to come off. This little ring is going to come off. And then this comes off. And then in here is your piston. Watch the guy just try to work this out. There we go. That piston looks okay. So it must be, I'm hoping it's the other side that has got this crack on it. So I'm going to go over to the other bench there, push down and try to work this one. It's being a real bugger. But I'm really hoping that's going to be something to do with what's wrong with this transmission. All right, after much struggle, I got this ring started here. I can get this off on the other side. I'm really hoping this is the part that's causing the issue. This transmission, find out pretty quick here. Take that off. This little ring. This part here that is broken right there, I'm pretty sure that's not supposed to be like that. Actually, I know it's not supposed to be like that. Well, I don't see anything obvious. This piston is isn't split anywhere. I don't know. So, I have, other than making a mess, found nothing wrong except for that. And I honestly don't think that is going to cause the issue. All that is a bit of a spring retainer for the piston. And I can't see that causing an issue. So I wonder if it's the valve body. I wonder if we got to dig into that valve body, which I don't really want to, but you know, that's the next thing to do. So, all right, so I haven't found anything, as you saw, obviously wrong. I just spun this thing around because I'm starting to take out the shifter linkage here internally. And I just wiped the inside of here in the case around where the valve body was, which this is the bottom part of the transmission. And it is full of just really dirty, crappy stuff. The aluminum that's in there, I think it might actually be from just the plates just moving back and forth as the clutches are engaged and disengaged. It puts forces on these sort of aluminum ribs. And you can see a bit of wear marks on there. I think that might be where the aluminum is from. It's small stuff. It's almost like an aluminum paste. So I'm thinking that's what that is. But, you know, oh shoot. Hang on. But overall, I'm thinking it actually could be the valve body potentially plugged up, because there's a lot of kind of almost sludgy stuff like down in here. Like that's pretty thick sludge. And if that's going through that valve body, it can't be good. So I might end up pulling this valve body apart. But my plan is to go ahead and order a rebuild kit. I'm going to take this to work, and I'm going to get this, throw this in the parts washer, get everything totally cleaned up, organized, and then when the new parts arrive, start to reassemble this thing. And when we get to the valve body, it'll be one of the last parts to go back in. I'll have all these parts reinstalled, and then I can pull that apart and see what's going on. So that is the plan. All right, so other than this little cracked ring here, I have not found anything in this transmission that is obvious to be a problem. One thing I do know is, I thought about this for a bit, it was making a cavitating sound with the pump. And if you've ever heard an old Ford with the loud powered steering pump, that's what it sounded like. And I'm wondering if the pump was actually cavitating, if there was so much crap in this transmission, sludgy stuff, that it actually had the oil filter plugged up and it was not getting oil in there. That's another potential thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all these Torx screws, and I'm going to split this oil pump and have a look inside and see what it looks like. All right, looking at this pump, I don't see anything that's obviously wrong. It looks pretty clean inside. Other than there's a little bit of dirt in there, so I will give this a good clean. And yeah, looks like there's some, I don't know, maybe these are relief valves. I might pop these spools out and clean them up as well. Yeah, one thing I want this thing to be is nice and clean. All right, so I've done a little bit of work here. I got the oil pump all cleaned up. I cleaned up some bolts and everything. I removed the spool valves out of here. I don't know if they're a relief valve or what, but took them out. There was some oil in there. Cleaned that all up, put it back together. Removed the seal, which goes on the torque converter here. It's held on with a little retaining ring. So when the new parts come in, I'll put that back together. Just put that over here for now. And I've started cleaning up some of these parts here, but I think that's about all I'm going to do. The transmission case, that's all done. That's all washed up. But it's going to be about a week maybe before these parts show up. So until then, I think I'm going to hold off, and then slowly I'll start to assemble this transmission get it back together. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you're as nervous as I am watching this and shaking your head going, there's no hope in hell you're going to get it back together. Maybe I'm thinking the same thing. I don't know. But words of encouragement. How about thoughts and comments down below? Thumbs up, subscribe. Appreciate all that sort of stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching and have yourself a great day.